Hello and welcome back to Seaside Garage. I feel motivated to go on with the task of fixing this up to get it roadworthy at least. Maybe even my winter driver. That could be proper cool. What I want to do in this video is I want to remove more stuff on the car because I would like to start fixing the rust in the roof. To do that, I would like to take the seats out to avoid damaging them and get a welding cover blanket in there. But also I would like to just inspect the roof, or not the roof, the floor underneath the carpets and all that. And the last thing, it is so moldy, this interior, so I would like to just get it out so I can clean it right. I think it's the right thing to do. So I would like to remove all the seats, also because there's rust in the inner wheel arch on the rear. That is pretty much in the rear seat, just behind the metal. So if I want to weld that up, and I like to do that, I need to remove the rear seats. I would also like to get all the crap out from the rear hatch. I don't even actually know what's in there, but we'll see. Then I would like to remove the plastic trim down here because that could really hide a lot of rust. So I'm going to remove all that. Oh, it's a good beginning because it's actually undoing and not just ripping the floor out of it. Maybe I spoke too soon. Now I think something is spinning down there. That's not ideal. Oh no, it's a captive nut on the underside that is spinning. Why is it made like that? Citroën, for crying out loud. Okay, so I'm sometimes trying to make a point about TV shows about restorations, that it's just like, and then everything is perfect. That's not how the reality is. But even on my channel, sometimes it is just like, I'm just going to do this, and then the next clip, I do it. Sometimes in between those clips is a lot of struggle. And at the moment, I started to remove the seats. It's 4 bolts. So far I have been able to remove, I think, 3 of them. The rest of them needs to be cut. One of them actually sheared through the floor, not because of rust apparently, but because Citroën got that stupid idea to put a captive nut in a, just like on the XM by the way, in a sheet metal cage. So when that nut gets rusty and you try to turn it, it just deforms the cage. And then the nut spins and you can't get it out. And because of my lift, I really don't have a lot of access in that area underneath. So right now I'm just extremely frustrated about it and started to cut it, which is hard because they are really tough bolts. So it's taking a long time. Anyway, in the next clip, I will just be casually removing these seats, but just know that in between those clips is at least a couple of hours of struggle to get these out. And also afterwards, it's going to need a lot of work to remount the seats because I need to reconstruct the area underneath and make a new captive nut system. If you ever need to remove a seat from a CX that has been standing around for a long time and is slightly rusty and got 400,000 kilometers on the clock, all you need is pretty much a Torx 40. It's a pretty big one. And then also you need an angle grinder. And is this called a saw? And a multi-cutter. Lubricant. Oh yeah. One of these. A crowbar. A big screwdriver. And you will most likely not succeed and end up just ripping the nuts and the captive nuts out of the actual sheet metal. But anyway, now you know. And I have one seat out. And this actually is a very good time to talk about my philosophy of restoring cars like these, because as you might know, I don't like full restorations. And I also like to do as little as possible, because each and every time you do something, chances are it will snowball a little bit. I don't think it was necessary to take the seats out to do the stuff that I need to do. But I just so much would like to clean the carpet out right and all that. So it is the right thing to do, but it just goes to show that I thought that I could just rip the seats out, and it turns out to be pretty much an entire evening's work. And I have now destroyed some stuff, the fasteners for the seat that I need to reconstruct. Anyway, that's just the way it is. And it's always interesting to see what you find underneath seats. So far, nothing too exciting, but I do believe that someone in the beginning of the 90s was a successful businessman owning this car, driving around a lot, as you know. It really got a lot of miles in that early years. I got the complete service history on this car until it got to Denmark at least. But if you are a businessman back then having one of these, yeah, every businessman had these, but this, then you really made it. Take a look at the size of this. If you needed paper clips in this size, then you gotta be a little bit important then. Here we got the spare Continental tire. Actually not the spare, but one of the aluminum ones. I want to take the rear seats out also, but I don't know if it's easier to do or if I have to do something from the back. Oh, these seats are so cool. Oh, I really hope I can save this car just to a standard like the Princess or something like that, just so it is nice inside and shabby outside, but solid. That would be nice. Spare LSM or engine oil, 15V40. So that tells me that the engine is maybe using some oil, but on the other hand, it's completely full and it's not from yesterday, that's for sure. So maybe not. This is not bought in Denmark. And more aluminum tires. Yes, I got them all. I just need new rubbers on them. They are pretty cool. But I'm trying to learn from my mistakes, so I actually went to order the tires yesterday after working on, checking the rust out on this one. And then I stopped because, remember, 4 days ago I picked up the gearbox for the W123. And then I checked for rust, and then I actually pretty much condemned that car. It's totally fixable. It's just a gigantic project and not what I wanted. So, but maybe it's a stupid idea to buy the tires before the car is actually ready to go. And the side cover for the other side. Side. That was the Danish word for cool. Side. Emergency triangle. And then a lot of nuts for different kind of things. Among others, there are the bolts for the tires or the rims. Some plastic trim, don't know what that's for, probably unnecessary. I know you're slightly low down right now, but I just want to bring you on when I remove the carpet back here. No nasty surprises so far, but more nuts and bolts. That seems a little bit important. At least they are big sizes. I do wonder if it might have had a trailer hitch. I just don't know. I better figure out what this is for before driving it. Oh, decent. Not just decent. Maybe more like, wow, it's looking nice. The hole we punched in the inner wheel arch on the previous video is up there. It's not visible from this side. There's a little bit of rust up here. Other than that, I'm gonna show you a bit closer in a second because I'm not sure how much you can see. I'm just gonna take off the other side as well. It reminds me a lot about the Princess actually, because that was also really nice looking back here, and much to my surprise. There's nothing really worrying to look at back here. There's some papers, but it's really looking nice. I don't know what that box is though. Has it something to do with the filler? No. I don't think it's original, but it might be. Well, I don't know. Anyway, that's not what we are here to watch or look at. Someone will hopefully tell me. Otherwise, I will have to do some more investigating. But take a look at this. Yeah, they did not use a lot of paint back here, but it looks... Yeah, there's a little bit of rust in the in there, but this is really, 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 really decent. Close to perfect when we consider the mileage on this car. It got 400,000 kilometers on the clock, and yeah. But it actually didn't give me a clue about how to remove the rear seat, so I have to look into that. Look at the seats, it's so nice. My wife is calling this car for strawberry and cream because of the outside and the interior. Well, anyway, I just looked at this and couldn't figure out how to take the rear seats out, but at least now I found out how to take the bottom end of it off, because I just yanked underneath and it just comes out. So that was really easy. Boy, heavy though, really heavy. I bet this car is nice to drive because it got a lot of sound insulation. I will most likely have to rip most of it out though, but it's ABS sensors that goes down here, I think. Oh, what a unprotected way to have them. And then we got some kind of, is that an ECU? Maybe. But what about those seats? How are they removed? Okay, so I gotta hand it to Citroën. There is so much brilliant stuff going on this car. The captive nuts for the front seats, I hate them, but in an ideal world, and if the car wasn't being used for 40 years or something like that, they would probably work just fine, but a little bit of rust, it will just go bad. But take a look at this I just found on the rear seats, because underneath, right there, is a nut that we can just loosen up. And when it's loose, we can just swing this part all the way like that. Now it's open, and then I can just pull up on the seat. And the same thing was at the other side. I have already loosened that up. I think I can just move the entire assembly out now and lift it up a bit. It's going to be a two-hands job, but anyway, it's loose. It is so simple made, this, and still so, it's so nice because it's not trying to overcomplicate things, but still it seems really solid and nice. I love this car right now, at least. I hated it an hour ago, but now the rear seat is out. And again, I'm not finding anything too scary other than the rust. That is the reason why I'm ripping out the seats. But at first glance, this is going to be really easy to fix. Like really easy. Oh, that's lovely. And it's the same on the other side. Same hole, same size, same place. Going to be pretty easy to fix also. Yeah. Let's go ahead and start removing the carpets. Wait, I saw money. 20 kronas. Just 1,000 more, and then I haven't lost anything on the bench. Anyway. Oh yeah. It's coming apart pretty easily. But I'm gonna go to bed now. It's really late. Everything was easy so far, but I have used at least 2, maybe 3 hours on those damn seats, so that stole my night away. So see you in a bit tomorrow. Good morning. So, moment of truth. The carpet is slightly damp, which is not a surprise because it did stand outside for a bit with a hole in the roof. Oh. So there is some floor pan rust, but it's really minor. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy about this after the horror show of on the Benz. This is just, yeah. This is just, and don't get me wrong, there is rust. There's plenty of rust, but it's really minor stuff inside of here. It's so much better than I could have imagined. There is, of course, some places that could be maybe punched a hole in, but overall, it's just... Let's start at the worst I found. It's up there. Because up here we have a rusty patch right there. This is where the subframe mounts. That looks all fine. That's nice to see, but this area needs a bit of a reconstruction. Then we got this inside of here, and that's also what we found underneath. There was some rusty area there. And right here we have a bit of welding to do. But again, this is minor stuff. Woo! Yeah, I forgot to show you on the other side, but these in here came out just fine from the seats. Out here, the captive nut cage down there got deformed. In the end, I actually ended up ripping out the nut through the floor. So we have some reconstruction to do here, and yeah, that's a shame, but there's nothing really I can do about it. What I think I'm going to do is just to cut out a square and then make a new square with a captive nut welded on the backside and then weld that back in. I think that's the way to go about that, because I'm not going to recreate what Citroën did here, because that is just a recipe for disaster. Even though maybe this car is not going to drive for another 40 years, then I just don't want to recreate that problem. And then we got the same issue as on the other side, right there. Take a look at the floor underneath the pedals. It's perfect. There is no surface rust. That's all. That's unbelievable. So a couple of holes in the floor and the holes in the wheel arch on the rear on both sides. That's all that needs to be done on the floor side of things. Then we've got the inner wheel arches up front and all that, and the subframe, but it's not a lot in here at least. But firstly, we're going to tackle the rust, or attempt to tackle the rust in the sunroof. And take a look at this. How cool is that? It's 89, it's not special with a sliding electric sunroof, but it is a Citroën and it works. That's special. I got a platform to stand in. This is all the problematic area. What I'm going to do first is to clean it up to see how much of the metal I can maybe just treat and get some more life out of, and what metal I need to do some welding on. I could also just fiberglass it, but it won't be pretty. It's going to be tough, this, but yeah, I'm just gonna have to see. I need to get this seal out to begin with to see what kind of edge we are working with here. Oh yeah, and by the way, there's also rust bubbles down here. I'm going to ignore them for now because it's perfectly fine for an MOT, but yeah, I'm not going for perfect. I'm not taking the windscreen out at this point, at least. So the actual sunroof is glued onto the skin, to the roof liner in here. So this is just a ledge, a 90-degree bend. So making the patches is not going to be difficult. Welding them in and making it look all right is going to be difficult. But what I'm going to do firstly is to just clean up all this crap to see what's left and what becomes nice shiny metal and what just disappears, because I think a lot will disappear. There are a lot of small holes that I didn't see in the at first glance, but it's not surprising. But it's holes like these. The area right here I was actually hoping just to be able to cure, and I'm still considering that because that hole is so little that I could just fiberglass it. But I will have to do some thinking. The thing is that this edge right here is not supposed to be waterproof. I have talked about that before on sunroofs. It is meant for water to go down into this and then drain out down here. So actually this part all the way to around here doesn't really need to be waterproof. This, on the other hand, of course, needs to be waterproof because water coming down here will not fall into this gutter. It will fall into the liner instead and drip down into the interior and wreck everything. So these parts are very important to get fixed. My plan at the moment is actually to go ahead and just cut out a piece like this, for instance, and then make that patch and weld it in. It is very difficult to weld and make it pretty in a roof. But on the other hand, it's not a big piece. Normally a roof is a big piece, so it's very flimsy. But this got a bend right here. It's got a bend down here, it's got a bend on this side. So I actually think it's rather stable, so I don't think I will have to worry that much about warpage. But it is going to be difficult. Lucky for me, I think it's what's on the inside that counts. So if this car is a little bit ugly on the roof, I'd much rather have that than giving it up just because of this, because that bad. It's not that bad, it just needs to, something just needs to be done so the interior is not wrecked. But yeah, a lot of work is needed on this roof. So it's time to do the scary bit of removing the plastic trim and seeing how bad it is. I know there is an issue back there, but most likely there's more than that. Citroën decided to make a screw that looks like that, made of plastic. I found out that a locking plier, a circlip plier I think it's called, can spin it. And that way we can remove it. I'm just going to remove all of them. So wish me luck. I really hope it is not too bad. I don't know if I dare to look. Right now you can see it, but I can't. Ah, are you kidding me? It's Whoa, it's nice. I was just about to say, what have I done to be this lucky all the time? But then I remembered the W123 and yeah. And yeah, there is a problem, but it is, it's almost too good to be true. The hole is right where I saw it, and there is nothing really hiding underneath the plastic. It is a bit larger than what you could see before, but it is pretty much just there. And to take a look at the inner panel also, it looks nice. Ah, this is really nice. Let's take the other side off as well. This car is really in a decent condition when we are talking seaside garage standards. This is all the way up there with the Princess. There's a bit here, but I think it is, I'm not even sure I have to weld, but there is rust right there. Ah, I don't believe this. Yes. Woo! So all in all, this is really not that bad. It is surprisingly good, but I was expecting way worse on these sills because that's a very common place for rust on old cars, but there is a bit there, but it is so nice. So thank you for watching yet another video about uncovering rust on the CX. The previous video I called "Where's the Rust Hiding?" and someone commented, well, it's all over the place. But in my mind, I am comparing this to the Benz that was on this lift, I think 3 days ago, where I was walking around hammering big holes all over the place. In that regard, I really have to look for rust on this car because it is so much better and it's really savable. At least to my standards, this is a pretty easy project to get back on the road and do a restoration on. So thank you for watching and see you in the next one.